Thank you so much for joining me to this solo episode of the Game Changer podcast. My name is Michelle Dutro. I am your host, and we are doing a little follow up to last week's conversation where I said, remember, I was chasing down the Amazon driver in the Uber car. Anyway, I had mentioned that I was on my way to a mastermind meeting in Las Vegas, which is where I recorded from. Anyway, what is the point of a mastermind? Let's just dive right into that. A couple of things should come out of it. One, you should be asked different questions than what you normally are asking yourself so that hopefully you come up with some different answers. Another thing that I think is incredibly valuable from a mastermind meeting or get together is that the people that you are around really see you for who you are, not for what you are saying you would like to be, or what your branding would like to be, or who you think you should be. Rather, the group that you are around should be watching you to see if you are showing up authentically as yourself. That said, all of those things did happen at this meeting, and this is what I want to tap into today. While I was up presenting what I do at the Inner North Star Retreat Center and the online courses and all of the rest of that, there was this bit of silence, and then the observation was made from Marshall Silver, who was hosting this event, and said, I've given this some thought. We had been together for days. And he said, I think I have come up with the perfect name for your offering, for your community, tribe, for all of that. And that is Fab. Like, hey, follow me to lead the Fab life, like fabulous, right? That's what I'm saying, FAB, for the Fab life. And he said, and Fab stands for feminine, alpha, badass. Now, just my saying that I'm sure has some reaction, especially for the gals out there. It always does for me. And when I say always, it's because the term badass has been thrown at me for a long period of time, and one that I don't relish. In fact, one that I fight. Why? Because I would like to be seen as more of, like Meg Ryan in You've Got Mail. And no matter how hard I try or no matter what I do, I'm going to tell you right now, nobody in my life has ever compared me to Meg Ryan. Not even at this mastermind. Even though I was around a group of brand new people I had never met before thinking I have a shot, didn't work. So here's the thing. At some point, you have to just live into fully who you are authentically, without effort, without trying, just who you are. Now, I'll tell you, as much as hearing that term, badass, has this, negative connotation to me. I don't know what it feels like. I think it feels like maybe that's how I'm identifying myself, that I think I'm all that in a bag of cats. I don't know. I can just tell you that it just hits me not great. But then imagine by comparison how something else hit me. You see, by the last day, somebody came up to me to share their insight or their thoughts, and they said, Michelle, if you really don't like that term or you don't like the way you are seen that way, then maybe it would be good that you practice, maybe speaking more softly, and maybe you could practice speaking more slowly. And I said, yeah, I probably, I'm sure I could practice that. I'm sure I could try really hard at that. But then why would I be trying really hard to be something I'm not? And this person said, oh, but maybe you're not right now, but that doesn't mean that you can't be. That, you could really work at that and then you would be that. And I sat there and thought, now, which one of these bothers me more? The feminine alpha badass, or being told, if you would just, do a complete personality overhaul, you could be this other person over here and then nobody would see you that way again. And, it was probably the indication that I wanted to punch the person in the face. Not really, maybe a little bit. Probably I did. Well, I did. Anyway, that's not really the meditation expert side of me showing up right there, but I am being authentically honest. And I knew in that moment, if I were to pick between the two, they're sitting on a scale, I can tell you immediately there's no way in the world I am going to work at being more soft-spoken and quiet and wallflowerish, So much so that, let me tell you this, when I was in the fire department and going through the fire academy, there are all kinds of things you can get in trouble for, written up, right? And then if you get, I don't know, 2 write-ups maybe, you're just booted out of the fire department. So logic things would be throwing a 35-foot ladder on a wall, like you can't do that, or taking a fire hydrant fast enough, or whatever the drill is that you can't seem to do. You get written up for that because if you can't do the job, you can't do the job. So imagine when I get called into the office out from the training ground and sat down and said, Michelle, do you know why you are being written up today? Which that's a very big deal. I will have you know. That can't happen very often or you're booted. And I'm sitting there thinking, what did I do wrong? There's no way I did anything incorrectly or wrong that would be a standout. Certainly not that day or any other day that can come to mind because I tried very hard. Anyway, I was told that I was being written up because I was too animated. Yeah, apparently there's a fire department policy on animation, and I had really crossed over that threshold. So they said, Michelle, when we're looking at all of you out on the training ground, do you know we always know which one is you? Always. Hands, big gestures. We always know out of all 35 of you, which one is Michelle Dutro. All right. But I don't know. Is there really a big issue with that? I mean, is the fire going to blaze hotter or bigger or spread faster because I'm being animated? I don't know. Who knows? Here's what I do know. I have been recognized for this, not always in a good way, in fact, quite frankly. Anyway, for a very long time, forever. I could go back to my second grade school report and it all said the same thing. So, at some point, you just have to embrace who you are. Surround yourself with people who are going to be very honest with you and say, this is the truth of who you are, and you should market yourself accordingly. And the people that want to be more of that or have more of that in their life are going to migrate to you. I'm just going to end this with the final best piece of advice, which, by the way, came to me from another firefighter. Go to the places that you are celebrated, not tolerated. So, today, however it is and whoever it is you are, I celebrate you as long as you are being authentically you. And if someone shows up in your path, really trying to offer up the very best, most sincere advice that in some way you should practice dimming your light or being more in the shadows or crawling off into a corner somewhere, thank them so much for that input. Because, see, that should hit you in such a way, maybe it doesn't make you want to strangle them. Probably that's just me. But it hits you in a way that says, why would I do something that's not authentically me? Thank them and show them on their way. And then get back into being the truth of who you are. So will you see feminine alpha badass show up somewhere in some marketing, maybe even this video? I don't know. But I do know that I am thrilled that you're here. I want to encourage you to lean in hard into who you are and surround yourself with people that celebrate you, that aren't just there to tolerate you. No one needs that energy. All right. Thank you again for joining me on this episode of the Game Changer Podcast. If you have any comments, if anybody's ever given you some kind of crazy wackadoodle advice, share it with me. I would love to hear. And if you also want to share with me exactly who you are so that I can celebrate you even further, please drop a DM, a comment, wherever it is that you are hearing me. I would love to hear from you on that as well. And if you could hit subscribe wherever it is that you are watching or listening, I would love that. All right. That's it for now. Have an amazingly authentic, fantastic